The stair has been restored as
Well,
much.
these seats have been restored too. They had fabric on them that wasn't very attractive, and they weren't finished. They weren't stained and varnished, and so we took the old fabric off, and it was stained and varnished. And then here you see this beadwork molding. Some of it was missing, so Drew was able to replicate it exactly, and we replaced the missing part of it.
That's hard to come by.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And this stairway is solid as a rock. Before Drew was doing it, we had Roy Baxter was doing a lot of the work, and they removed some of the panels and got under here. And the stairs had been kind of creaky, and so they reinforced it, so it's pretty solid. Here you can get a better look at the glass. This little piece is the only piece that we had to have replaced. There was a hole in it.
but he had old glass.
Yeah,
Because he
Malloy
was
had
working
some
in
old
glass.
It's not quite the same shade of blue, but it's pretty close. And you can see the sort of smoke clumping in smoke ring like
Texture of that glass.
texture design. A lot of Tiffany glass. I'm not saying these are Tiffany, but a lot of Tiffany glass uses that technique. It's called mottled glass, M-O-T-T-L-E-D. And some of this baseboard was missing here and there, and so Drew replicated it, and it's everywhere in the house now.
And that was an original pattern from the house, and he
Yeah,
replicated it.
So there's some more built-in window seats that are original, and we did the same thing here. We took the old fabric off, and then there was a little bit, and we had them stained and varnished.
Here.
One thing that you really see when you come into an old house like this is the flow of the air. Because every door, every window was operational in the 1800s. We didn't have air conditioning; we had to do something. So this was a good way of the tall ceilings.
And this is called a Cremone bolt right here. The Cremone bolt has the part of it that moves these rods up and down is in the middle, and the rod goes down to latch at the bottom of the door and the top of the door, and so that's what that is.
And
And then we've got a copper flashing, which is an original technique, and then we have latches at the bottom of these. Again, because we need something to keep the frame straight.
You're going to be releasing some moths that are very
flat,
okay, guys.
Flat seam copper decking here, and the one over there that you see with the ribs is called standing seam.
And those are the gutters that he's talking about.
And these are the original. This is the original gutter, but of course it's got new metal on it.
No, there. Okay, guys.
That was the original of the house.
You are free. Without the railings up here, it's too makes you feel dangerous. So these are temporary.
The balustrade is a little bit lower
On the originals.
than you see on modern. So we'll probably put some kind of little decorative something or another that above it, so you don't get the creeps when you're out here.
It's a seal between the sheets.
It's
Got a seal that
it's
they have.
copper flux. It's a solid copper. It's a folded joint, and it's got a
There's not any adhesive.
sorter in it, fully soldered together. Soldered.
Solder. Okay.
Yeah, soldered together.
Okay.
Yeah.
One thing
no
you
expense.
might want to see here, the doors, even though they're original, if you use just straight what are called butt hinges, without this standoff, it hits the trim up there, which could split the wood. So we bought these are bronze hinges, and they're called Parliament hinges. They put the door out farther so that it won't hit that trim.
And all these curved things that you saw the curved form downstairs. Drew has had to do a lot of curved things, including where he's had to remake and repair the baseboards and parts of the window frame and all of that. All of that has to be formed on a curved surface. So
in this master bedroom, you see the door to the balcony that you saw in the front hall, and this is one room that has a full door access to the balcony. On the side, we'll see a window that was used for access that's been rebuilt. Also on the windows, you notice the original windows restored, as Kathy and Fred have described them, and you see the hardwares, which are period appropriate to the house, that really hold security and hold the windows sashes close together. They're levered such a way that they really make it fit tight. Yeah. This back bedroom, again with another closet fully trimmed out, as you saw below, beautifully finished out, and all the woodwork restored to its original appearance, all new wiring and plumbing throughout the house.
and in all there was an original double closet. The trim was inside the closet too. So if you turn up and it had all the trim. So we did that to all the closets. So if you want to go and
fully
think
appointed
to yourself,
all the details. There's no slacking off of detailing.
Well, Drew was building all these headers and repairing them and doing all those little things. And so while he was doing that, we think, let's do all of them in the closets while you're doing that. So he was doing so well on it.
Did a great job.
Oh yeah, no, this will be the one original bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
We think the hall closet will be another bathroom, and there'll be a powder room in one of the closets downstairs.
And then this central hall goes to the rear stair connection to first floor and to the third floor. And this is where the restoration took place on the spindles. And then you have original wall with a header that was restored back to its original position, where this was wall before. Now it's fully restored spindles.
And that header we didn't know where that header came from. And then when we took the wallpaper and stuff off of this, we could see the shadow from it. So that's where it originally was. But we didn't know. It was, where did this go? And this room is such, I don't know why, whether we're the only ones who call it the Maiden Anne's room, but it just, I think there was someone who stayed here in the life of the house, but 3 windows on 3 sides, just
very
love
unique.
that.
And then this is a closet right here between the 2 rooms with a communicating door.
And it had all this trim so that you could, wherever you were in the closet, the trim was there. But we thought it was so neat to have all the window trim and door trim on the inside of the closet too.
And then the third floor, I think we've probably gone as far as we can today, but the third floor is a wonderful empty space with a turret express and so on and so forth. It's not finished yet, but they have.
But what is finished there is it had never had original finished trim around the windows, and
It's all been
and it's
restored.
all matches this now.
Mhm.
Every window has full windowsill and all of that. So
After
it's as formal as the rest of the
it'd be
house.
totally intact. And the original tower was struck by lightning, and the top of the pointed tower that you saw from outside had a hub where all the wood framing met. And after the fire, we just dusted the charcoal off and used that hub to reform the new roof.
So
it's
there's
still
one
up there.
little black portion
One little
where it
black
was the
place.
fire that's part of the history of the house.
Well,
So
thank
that
you.
was the first year we were in the house, and it was. Oh, this was the window that was, and there's a picture of the door as it had been. They just kind of put a door in here that didn't fit, and so we restored that to be a window again, and that's the way it was. And one of the children of the original owners.
Houston Thomas.
Oh, it was the second owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Houston family. He, as a child, would.
No, that was Houston Thomas.
Okay, well, anyway,
Told me that he lived here in this room during World War II when his parents were, I guess his father must have been in the army or something at the time, and so he stayed here with his grandfolks.
Prior to the advent of air conditioning, this would become a sleeping porch. So the children or anyone going on that little porch would go through a window to sleep when it was really hot and get cooler air outside.
But these were all turned to look like just exactly like the other one.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
this is plumbed so
What's
we can
above?
have a bathroom here.
Take your feet up.
That's right.
And all these windows did not have sills or frames.
All the trim around these windows, we copied from the rest of the house. It being a third floor attic, it was just raw wood here, and there was absolutely no decorative wood at all. And so we did every window up there. We had that done.
Yeah,
Including
Drew.
The set in front. We had to have some of that glass restored by Malloy. And you can see again, it's that similar pattern that we copied for the transom. These are all 1870s vintage aesthetic period. The type of art style is called this aesthetic.
Okay.
And so we have, I think, what, 5 of them. 1, 2, 3. You can see they've got a ceramic kind of a cylinder in the middle here. They're kind of interesting.
This chimney is it twists because in the living room it's on a diagonal, but they wanted it straight here, and so when we had to have this rebuilt, they copied it just the way it was.
So this is what you call corbelling. See how it stages out? It corbels around, create an exit that's perpendicular and
So that was one of the ones that was rebuilt,
from the lower.
and all of that had no framing, and it has sills and frame and all that sort of stuff that Drew made.
Again, we have the on the little narrow windows, we just kept the one window lock. Here, where it's a little bit wider, we have 2.
And here, all that curved stuff is new framing.
All the shiplap in here we added.
It didn't have this either. It didn't have the walls
Yeah,
or.
it had no shiplap in here. So we added that, and then of course the baseboard that went around it.
If you look up, you can see this is where the original lightning strike occurred at the very peak. And that black dot at the top is the hub that was original to the original roof. And when we reframed it back as it was, using that hub as the sound ground for the rafters.
And there's the.
You can see a little bit of scorching from the fire right here.
On these columns.
It didn't damage the walls of the house at all. It was interestingly enough, the roof when we got the house, had the original cedar shake roofing on it. So it was highly dried out and susceptible to catching on fire. Without
Plus,
much
it was about the
provocation.
highest thing, tallest thing around, so the lightning.
Maybe-
Hence, we have a full lightning rod system.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the cable.
I don't think we would have
Oh,
thought
I
of
see
that
it,
otherwise.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Copper
No,
cable
that's
all the way
coming.
down to
That's
the
a good
ground.
move. You have to do that.
But it never would have occurred to me otherwise.
That's what all of this process began with that lightning strike.
That's when we met you, and
That's
you
right.
know, we found you, and
You know,
process
notice
started.
The two things that sort of jump out at me. One, the baseboard, you know, it's circular, so that had to take some effort.
Yes,
Got
that
a
was
curve.
James. I mean,
And that was the same way. You know, you got a curve there. That took a real long, wide
Some
board.
of it was steamed to
Curve.
steam box.
Okay.
And then in some, I don't think it was done here, but what they did in this house on some of the curved stuff was they curved it.
That's a cut on the backside, so you don't see the cut.
Okay.
And
that
so
makes
there's
it bend
just
more
a thin
easily.
piece of wood you can bend easily.
This is part of what all those curved forms were for. Plus the railings for the outside curved porch. Those are in.
And we have pictures of that we sent to
Yeah.
Bob already.
Yeah, so
And if you look over
that's
here, you can see
a lot of curved things to construct.
on that part of the house, Joe's. And right here too.
We always think this will kind of really be a nifty room, and we have had a number of ideas for it. It's because it's just kind of a special space.
It is, exactly, yeah.
Like a reading room.
Well, yeah. Good library anyway. Librarian?
I can see an easel with one of your artworks on it.
Ah, well,
I love that idea.
I originally in my idea I was going to I'll put a skylight so that I can do artwork in here, and then I'm not going to ruin that roof with a skylight. The roof line of the house is so beautiful. I wouldn't want to do that to it, but and this will have railings. We have to figure out exactly the contours of that, but I definitely need a railing. And this is a closet, which, I mean, considering this, there are a lot of closets in this house, but I think we're going to have this be a second bathroom.
There used to be one more chimney in this house that came out of the kitchen area, and we decided not to. It needed a lot of work to be rebuilt, just like the rest. So the so-called chase, where the space in the house where the chimney went, we ran piping, plumbing piping up through it, so we didn't have to invade any of the more decorative parts of the house.
So that's the passageway for all wires and pipes and stuff to get from floor to floor.
So, and no fireplace was hooked up to it. It was just the kitchen stove, and then maybe there was, I think they had a stove in here too. Small.
Yeah, that where they didn't have a fireplace, they'd
Just
have
had
a
a
stove.
flue.
Yeah, with a flue.
Went into that, so it seemed like it wasn't too much of a sin to not restore that particular chimney so we could use the space.
I think it actually allowed the butler's pantry to be a little larger too.
Yeah, since there was no fireplace actually associated with it. This may be the kind of wallpaper we put in here, the William Morris willow pattern.
The other possibility is Lincrusta, and we haven't quite figured that out. Whether
William Morris was leader of the English arts and crafts movement back in the 1870s.
so he's very appropriate to
But a
this
lot of
period.
his designs were used in this country too.
We want to thank Fred and Kathy Telecky and Bob Smith for this opportunity to meet with you today to review the Gough-Hughston Telecky home in McKinney on Louisiana Street. It's been a wonderful treat.
Oh,
We
thank
appreciate
you.
your hospitality so very much.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you
you.
It was
again.
a pleasure.
I'll mention one thing that you'll see as you go through this tour here, the detail of replicating or making perfect this house as it was when originally was built. You won't find it anywhere else. You see it here in McKinney,
So
Texas.
true, so true.
Yeah.
This is a tribute to the Teleckys. and their
Absolutely.
faithful
Thank you.
restoration. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.